Vegeta is completely, utterly, without a doubt, irredeemable. But that doesn't mean I don't like him as a character. In fact, I'd say he's my third favorite. I'll let you speculate on who my other two favorites are. But regardless of how much I like how Vegeta is written and all the cool stuff he does, apparently I swear too much, and you're not supposed to swear in the first however many seconds of a YouTube video. Language! He has simply just caused too much pain and suffering in the universe to ever really atone for it, no matter how many times he blows himself up. Now, Dragon Ball does have a well-established record of enemies becoming allies and redeeming themselves by helping Goku fight other bad guys or just by helping him raise his kid. Yamcha, Tien, Piccolo, they're all examples of this from Dragon Ball, and these characters continue to play important roles in Dragon Ball Z. And Super, kind of. Yamcha was a desert bandit, Tien was a rival martial artist, and Piccolo was the reincarnated son of an evil dictator. Now that I think about it, does Piccolo being born from someone evil mean that he has to then redeem that person? Like, is Piccolo's crime being born and being mean? He's done nothing wrong. My point being, these characters have all turned their lives around, joined the good side, after having some sort of realization that it's good to be good. But what if you enjoy being bad? You know as well as I do that Vegeta is introduced in the Saiyan saga of DBZ. He's the prince of all Saiyans, which is like, oh, let's count this out. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta himself, Nappa, Broly, Paragus, Tarball. Is that 7? 7 Saiyans. Oh, Raditz, but he's dead. Call it 7. And he wants the Dragon Balls that he can wish to be immortal and rule the universe and fight people forever. Typical villain stuff. Now, that is a pretty simplified way of explaining Vegeta, but you all know who he is. I think it's a great time to now give you a list of just some of Vegeta's crimes. Number 1. Multiple genocides. Sort of speaks for itself. Number 2. The attempted eradication of Earth. 3. Multiple individual murders. 4. Terrorism. 5. The murder and torture of Namekians. 6. Child abuse. 7. The collateral death of this trucker. 8. The murder of spectators at the World Tournament, and many more. Yeah, it's not looking good for the Prince of Saiyans, and the road to redemption is long. And I would argue, for Vegeta, it has no end. The defense that some people give Vegeta, especially when he's working for the Frieza Force, is that he's just following orders. It's not really his fault. Do you know who else claimed to famously be following orders? Do you really want to go there? Do we really want to do that?
I'm not even going to dignify him by saying his name, but I think you know what I'm talking.
Oh, hey, Future Rufus here. Did you guys know that 93% of you aren't subscribed? Please like and subscribe. Thank you. In actual defense of Vegeta, he was essentially just born into a race of mercenary invaders. The whole thing with Saiyans is that they're born to fight. They live to fight. And it's just pure instinct. And whilst they did have a history of invading planets and committing genocides, the Saiyans were essentially enslaved by Frieza and forced to do this on his orders. His orders being finding planets, conquering them, wiping out the native species and selling that planet on to someone else, or enslaving that species, or just conquering it for fun, whatever Frieza felt like that day. Culturally, within Saiyans, there is just a strong emphasis on how might is right. And Vegeta, being born a prodigy and the Prince of all Saiyans in that culture, bro was cooked from the start. He had no hope. Not everyone could be lucky like Goku and get hit on the head and suffer brain damage and become a nice guy, you know? So yeah, this does make things slightly murky. However, Vegeta clearly does understand right from wrong, and he chooses to do evil all the time. So let's start breaking it down. In an anime filler episode, and I do emphasize anime filler, Vegeta destroys an entire planet home to a sentient species of insect people, just because he can, really. And whilst this is a filler episode, it does speak to how the characterization of Vegeta was intended and carried through. It speaks quite well to his character, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is just something he would do and has done before, potentially on numerous occasions. In fact, we know this is essentially his job. This is what he does for a living, or is forced to do. It's murky. He does it though. That's the important thing. It's a fucked job. It's a really fucked job. In fact, when Vegeta and Nappa land on Earth, Nappa just destroys like an entire city, and the only admonishment he gets from Vegeta is, oh, well, you're going to drive the overall price of this planet down if you keep destroying things. That's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. He's a real businessman. Capitalist pig. Later on, after killing Nappa, because he has no use for a paralyzed Saiyan, the fight with Goku isn't really going the way he was expecting it to go, to put it lightly. So he decides to cut his losses and blow up the Earth, which is one of the best tantrums ever committed to screen. I'm not winning. I'm just gonna blow up the Earth. Wah. Let's jump to Namek, where Vegeta hunted down and killed and tortured a whole bunch of Namekians just to find the Dragon Balls. And to consider the look of absolute glee on this man's face. Pure evil. He also kicks the shit out of Gohan a few times for fun. And like I said before, He kills this trucker indirectly. You know, wrong place, wrong time, I think. He risked the planet Earth just out of pure arrogance by letting Cell achieve his perfect form. That was just, that was just out of pure overconfidence in his own strength. Great one. This is a man who clearly never learned from Master Roshi that there's always a stronger opponent. There's always someone stronger than you. A lesson that Goku took to heart very early in Dragon Ball. And just because there are so many more crimes that Vegeta committed, let's just jump ahead to the Buu saga and say that he killed all those people that were spectating in the tournament at the time. Oh, but that's Majin Vegeta. He was under the influence of Babidi. Oh, I know. And don't worry, we'll get there. Now, that's just a very quick summary of all of Vegeta's crimes, and it all forms part of my argument for why I believe that Vegeta can never truly be redeemed. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to say that whilst Vegeta is not able to be redeemed, by the start of Super and by the end of Z, he is effectively reformed, which is confusing. What I'm saying is that all the past actions that Vegeta committed before Dragon Ball and during means that he's a character that can never truly atone for all the things he did. But he's a changed man, and he wouldn't do those kinds of things anymore. And when he's given the opportunity, he seeks to right those previous wrongs. So is he a good person? Maybe. Depends on your definition. Is he one of the more interesting characters in Dragon Ball because of his history and flaws? Absolutely. Now, let's talk about the Namek saga. Again, it's not my fault, it's peak fiction. Vegeta, as you know, goes around hunting and killing and torturing Namekians to find the Dragon Balls. I think based on this, we can accuse him of attempted genocide if that's a crime. I think it might just be genocide or not, like there's no in between. And it's all for the selfish goal of making him immortal via a wish from the Dragon Balls. I mean, it really doesn't get more ironic, really. He's killing an entire species so that he can live forever. Thankfully, he fails to do this, and the Namekians that were murdered by Frieza and his men are resurrected on Earth with the Dragon Balls. However, as the wish by the group was to revive the Namekians that were murdered by Frieza and his men, all the Namekians that were killed by Vegeta don't come back to life, which is something he gloats about. Now, one of the points that you might come across when talking about this topic, and one that I actually had in my comment section, is that by the end of the Moro arc, he has redeemed himself because of his actions on New Namek. I haven't made this video in response to this comment, by the way. I always intended to make this video, I swear to God. But yeah, I have to respectfully disagree with this point. Vegeta is essentially thrown into the position of the Namekians during the Namek saga, with Moro acting as him, going around killing and murdering and torturing to find the Dragon Balls. He's defeated very easily, he's unconscious for 3 days. He's getting just like a little bit of a taste of what the Namekians went through all those years ago at his own hands. And you can tell that it does genuinely weigh on him. He saves Esker from being devoured by Moro and remarks on a couple of occasions that he owes the Namekians a great debt, one that he intends to fulfill. He wants to save them and let them continue to live in peace, and hopefully that will balance the scales a little bit. Namekians on their part seem sort of ambivalent towards Vegeta and his general presence. They heal him and Goku when they're defeated, look after them for 3 days, but when Vegeta presses the Elder on his feelings towards Vegeta, he pretty much says that they have tried to let go of hatred and grudges in the pursuing of peace. You hear it all the time. When you really harbor negative feelings towards someone, you're mostly just hurting yourself with negativity. And this is a genuinely deep and wise way of looking at redemption and atonement and crime and punishment. However, when you look at the Elder as he says this, you can clearly tell he definitely still holds a grudge, which he has every right to. Imagine if someone came into your home and shot a loved one. 10 years later, they come to your house again, but this time they save you from a house fire. Do you still forgive that person? Can you get over that? Does it go any distance towards balancing? Because that's what Vegeta has essentially done. Now let's talk about one of my favorite versions of Vegeta, Majin Vegeta. That was a bad sentence, really structured. I need to stop saying Vegeta so often. Now here's a hypothetical for you. If you had a friend who got routinely drunk, and when they were drunk, they said really awful things to you and your friends, whoever, would you be able to separate the sober friend from the drunk friend? No, you wouldn't. You'd say, stop getting drunk. Stop getting drunk. You suck. I hate you. No one likes you when you drink. I swear this isn't personal to me. This seems really personal. It's not. But that's essentially Majin Vegeta for you. Having witnessed the power that Majin characters get when they're forced to submit to Babidi, Vegeta decides to take the shortcut and allow the process to happen. All of this just to fight and defeat Goku, by the way. In the middle of like the biggest crisis the universe has ever seen. The Majin power drastically amps up Vegeta's power and kind of like unlocks that evil side of him again. Removes all the inhibitions and morals that he'd started to develop from the Namek saga onwards. I don't mean Namek saga, I mean Frieza saga. By taking the Majin power, he knows he will then go on and do horrific evil things. It's a fact. He's essentially handing the keys to his car to his drunk self. He knows what's going to happen. Forget the fact that he has a whole goddamn family to look after and he's just up and vanished on them because he'd rather do this than look after them during, like what I said, was the worst crisis they'd ever faced. He then goes on to murder a whole bunch of people at the World Tournament just to make a point. And to go back to the drunk driving analogy, once a drunk driver has killed someone, you don't wait for them to sober up and then just let them go because they're not drunk anymore. That was the drunk then. No. After Goku slaps some serious sense into Vegeta, he knocks out Goku and goes to face Majin Buu alone. He gives his son a hug for the first time and knocks him out. Good parenting. And he asks Piccolo if he'll go to the same place Goku's gone to when he dies. You know, the good afterlife. Piccolo says, oh, hell no. And Vegeta, knowing this, still goes to fight Majin Buu, knowing he's gonna die and end up in hell. Or maybe not hell. It might be that he's reincarnated as a new person. Who knows? It's out there somewhere. Someone correct me in the comments. Thank you. Anyway, he blows himself up and surprise, surprise, dies. Instead of being sent straight to hell without passing go, he's given his body back and is sent to join Goku in the fight against Buu. Again, once he's defeated, Vegeta and the others are wished back to life and Vegeta is metaphorically reborn. You know, I'm going to see something in the comments about how Porunga was told to bring back the good people, or Shenron was told to bring back the good people and Vegeta was included in that. I accept that. I accept that as having happened and I understand that point. But that's the whole point about him being a good person rather than him being completely guilt-free and innocent.
Editing Rufus here. To just like change my opinion slightly, there is a track record and a history of the dragons just kind of doing what they want anyway. So even if you ask for something specific, like Piccolo asking to have his power unlocked, Shenron might just go, well, I just chucked in a little extra power in there anyway. Like, they've got personality, so they can kind of just tell when someone needs something for a situation. They're kind of weirdly omniscient at times too, so I wouldn't take this as seriously as being like Vegeta is a good guy because Porunga brought him back. Porunga probably just saw that they needed Vegeta and probably did that.
Do you see the difference? I feel like I'm making the right point, I think. Vegeta has committed many crimes. Far too many crimes to ever atone for them fully. And he should spend the rest of his life defending the universe from the very evil that he once inflicted upon it. Whilst I do believe that he is now a good person, his previous crimes should haunt him for the rest of his life. His journey towards being redeemed is long, and I'm hoping that with the passing of Akira Toriyama that we haven't seen the end of it. Anyway guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.